Hi guys, it's Maaike. Today I'm back with my 8th card of the 24 weeks of Christmas. And here it is. Didn't start out live like this. In fact, this is, well, version number 3. So at first I did the dipping method, but that didn't work. Then I did kind of this method and it looks fine until I tried to emboss stupid trees on top and I ruined it. And actually these are small trees and big trees because I tried small ones and nope. So I've decided to make it a bit more clean and simple in the process and hide it behind a focal point, because I think the big expanse of blue was a bit too much. And I like blue as much as the next person, but and for the sky I went for the really dark ones, and then for the landscape I went for lighter ones, but they all turned out into a really dark one. So now I'm sticking to stuff like aqua, turquoise and cloudy sky. Cloudy sky? Yeah, I don't know. I put it away already, so I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, which way color you have. I'm also looking for yellows and purples and oranges, and I thought I could make a bit of a, I don't know if it's really sunset, but I think it turned out that way. In fact, to me now it looks like a Greek village in the sunset with the white houses and yeah. But anyway, the horizon is really straight and I wanted to go for kind of iceberg, and that was my first attempt. But now it's a Greek village at Christmas. With the that's not good. Anyway, I'm just putting on alcohol, clean alcohol, to wet the paper, just like you would do with watercolor, so they spread. But I do little lines of I have pink sherbet, lemonade, sunset orange, wild plum. It's not picked raspberry, but something raspberry. And I try to move it and then use setting number 1 on my wow gun, because it's Yupo paper, it's plastic. It will melt. And I mess around with it as much as I want, and I put some more alcohol to spread it a bit more. The work in layers, just like with the watercolors, I would say. And I'm using the leftover from the previous projects. It's a bit blue, but that didn't really show up at all. See, now I can move it a little bit more, but then you get like kind of one color instead of 2. And yeah, usually you put alcohol in dots, don't you, in drops. So I started with that on the blue one, but I like the stripes because that's sunsetty. Aurora borealis ish. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I also heat set it in between because I like how you get those stripes like you get with watercolors. And then of course I mess with it too much and they all disappear again. So I think this is indigo and eggplant, if I remember correctly, and wild plum is really gorgeous. So yeah, layers. And be careful when you open your pots above the wet alcohol, because sometimes you get the crusty bits. So when you spray alcohol like this, please turn off your heat gun because it's hot and alcohol is flammable. I did that, you just can't see because I took it out of screen, but yeah, it's not a good thing to set your house on fire for a card. Don't think it's worth it. See, I didn't turn it off here. I took it away from the spray, but it's dangerous, don't do that. I just said CPR and fire training and I'd still do it. But I will let this dry a little bit because I think it's okay. And carefully peel that off. Doesn't it look like a very dramatic sky? And yeah, I had these lying around because they're in my basket with the alcohol, but it was properly dry. Also, I don't think it would have gone very well. But so I did let it dry, and now I'm going to do the icebergs or the snow or sea. I didn't put the tape very well down. There's a little sliver of white that shows when you peel it off, and I think you could fix it with one of your markers, but frankly I was hoping my village would cover it, and I didn't choose the right village for doing that. But also I didn't want to mess with my card because yeah, this was not the first attempt, was it? So, and again I just wet it and dry it so you get those stripes like it's a landscape, you know. There might be hills or icebergs, I don't know. See, I didn't measure, I just put the tape down. Now I just realized it's half and half. But I ended up using more of the dramatic sky in the end than my blue village or snow. And snow, of course, is always bluish when sunlight hits it. So I don't know, I'm not sure at sunset, but let's not go there. See, that's what happened with my attempt number 1 when I was dipping it in, and then there was so much alcohol it just melted all the pigment off again, and I would kind of end up with a white sheet. Even with heat setting it in between, it just didn't work today for me. Not sure why. Maybe too much alcohol. Maybe last time I used 91% or 70 something percent, and now I used 96. Might be different. See, and don't hold your heat gun like that, because didn't I just tell you not to do that? Yeah, I don't listen to my own advice. And also, when you peel this off, do it really slowly. But I left some of the sticky behind on the orange, so I cleaned it up later with a bit of alcohol. I tried to do it with one of those eraser things, but that didn't work. So I went in with alcohol. But of course that changes the sky again, but it's still fine. So I went to grab a brush so I can do some splattering, like I will do with watercolor. This is alcohol, of course, it's not water. Yeah, see, that's why it was stuck, because I melted the tape. And yeah, that didn't work. Nope. So I just went for alcohol, but of course I know that when you put alcohol it will move stuff, and I could have left it sticky. That's not very professional, is it? So see, I'm just collecting the goo like that, and I probably could have tried and fixed the gap in between the sea, but I didn't dare. I think my blue is very nice. So I decided to splatter it with snow. Not sure it ever snows in Greece, but I got Greece in my mind now because I have white houses. Yeah, I left that. So I let it dry again. And meanwhile I die cut a circle out of a card panel. And yeah, that appeared out of nowhere, and I thought I could use it, but it's also on the inside, so nope. I see that looks completely different inside the frame. Much more clean and simple and tidy. And it's the same width as my card, so I just chop off little bits and also the melted bit. I'm sure that makes it easier to mount it. I think it would be really cool to make planets like that. If you put them behind the circular die cut and you have some kind of weird orangey purple texture. And yeah, here I forgot to take out the bits from my last project. And I always do it when I forgot, and then I get upset with myself. So I said, I think it was last week. Yeah, I always clean them up because I don't like starting project with having to finish other ones, if that makes sense. I did poke them out, the other one. But this is Wow embossing powder. One has a little cross, you can see. I think that's discontinued. That's Cha Cha Cha. And the other one is, I don't remember, coconut ice. And I'm using Cha 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 because, you know, I'm gonna get rid of it. They are similar. I think the Cha 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 is a little bit more sparkly with different color glitter, and coconut ice only has white or silver shiny things in there. So I went for the more, well, the more garish one, I would say. The more shiny one, the more colorful one, whatever you want to call it. And I doubled up the embossing. Don't think I made much of a difference, but I just wanted to do that in case it would make it more shiny. Makes it also a bit thicker and sturdier, I'm sure. And wiping off the bits that I went astray because they might melt on my mat. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off screen. I had a bit of troubles with that today, but I don't know if you can see how shiny it is, because it's so beautiful in real life. Now it's really strong. So for the village, I used Your Next Die, Houses on a Hill. And I die cut it from that glitter paper that I just made. And of course, if you don't want to make your own glitter paper, you can just use some glitter paper that you have. And I thought I'd show you, you don't have to. I have white glitter paper. It's a bit more yellow than I would like it to, especially next to my panel. And it's also very flimsy. So now I use a nice sturdy card, so it will stand up behind my window. And I'm cutting off a little bit and then half that house, because that doesn't make any sense. See, very pretty. So now I'm going to glue it. And I will put a marker so I know where I want my village. And then totally ignore it when I'm putting it down. Yeah. It's terrible. So I get distracted by all the other things that I did wrong with the other cards. And I keep thinking about them, of course. But yeah, it's a process. You learn. It's just paper and a bit of alcohol. It's a bit of a shame because they're not very cheap. But here I remembered my pencil line, so I thought I should use them. See, it's also nice this way. I traced that so I know where to put my landscape. But then of course it's bigger. But it gives me kind of an idea of where to put it. I know sometimes it doesn't make sense, but in my head it does, because I thought, yeah, that's where it has to be. So, time for the sentiment. And I've decided to go for something really bold. So I went for Simply Said Blocks Christmas from Unico. And that's because it's nice and bold. It's a block. And I think it needed it. Because there's so much interest in a tiny circle. That, if you do a scripty one, I probably wouldn't command any attention. I'm using my grid to get it straight. And then I move the acetate. So it's not straight. I didn't put the acetate down on the magnets, of course. So I see, I'm still not convinced it's straight. But it is. And I wasn't sure if the paper moved, so I was a bit scared of doing it another time. So I printed it again, stamped it again, but I was fine. There was just a little dust on that corner, so I fill it in with a Memento marker. And that's pretty much the card finish. You can still add something like sequins or enamel dots or dewdrops, but I think it's not the right marker. It's pretty glittery. I wanted the glitter because it's Christmas, you know. You could just do a white or black village even. You could see before I used black when I left the bits in. And that's all fine because it's a silhouette. But I'm just mounting it with foam tape. I did mount the village flash to the panel, but then there's a little bit of depth between the panel and the planet. The more I look at it, the more I see planet. Maybe a good idea, because I have all the digis from the zodiacs from Crafting Desert Divas to make planets. Yeah, good idea. Must remember. I always say that. Anyway, peel it off. I have that sometimes when I have a dream. And I wake up and I repeat it in my head and I think I must remember it. And then I go back to sleep and of course I never remember it. So they would make great movies. But yeah, that's my card. As I say, if your horizon is really annoying you, please go ahead and ruin your project by trying to fix it. But I'm not going to. So thank you for watching. I will see you, I'm not sure, Sunday, but next week anyway. So thank you for watching again. Bye.